Let's see what we have in here as far as what comes with it. There may or may not be some additional things in this. My buddy Aiden KD9VUK brought this over for me to take a quick look at and share with you folks. So we get a 2-page instruction manual. I read through this before I started filming. There's not a lot of detail in here. For example, it doesn't tell you whether these are latching relays or not. I didn't see whether it would tell you how wide of a tuning range it has. So we'll have to try and figure out some of that stuff as we go. It does tell you that it works with 0.1 to 100 watts and can take up to 120 watts on a rush. You also get a USB-C charging cable and an Allen wrench along with the tuner. First off, this is a pretty good looking compact design. It is a nice heavy little box. It seems like quality buttons. They've got decent connectors on the outside. You can feel a little tiny bit of springiness inside. That might be some toroids that are able to be glued down a little bit better. Little tiny screen, AT-100M, and it's telling me 3.57 volts, 29% capacity. And it currently has an SWR of 0 because there's no signal or no antenna. So it'll show me a 1 to 3 range. On SWR, it shows me forward and reflected power. And then I've got an SWR meter and a forward power meter. And then I've got readings of those in numerals instead of graphs, and then back to the original. Okay, Aiden made a comment. He says, it comes with this Allen wrench, so they probably want you to take it apart. So let's take it apart, because that's what we do here. My expectation from looking at this is this front panel is going to come off somehow, and there's going to be some way disconnecting from the circuit board. Now it'll slide out. Okay, so we have a very little tiny battery. I don't know how well you guys can see that in there. We'll get you some other beauty shots of that in a minute, but that battery is stinky. It's almost like it's not even a battery. Oh, okay, I get it. The battery runs the entire length of the inside, and all I can see is the control circuit because the rest of it is black. Okay, so it has a lipo pillow inside here glued to the top surface of the device. Okay, we've got some Kapton tape protecting the toroids on the bottom. And yeah, that springy feeling is these toroids. And they're wrapped with some pretty high quality magnet wire, so they did a good job there. There's our display connector. This is our SWR bridge. There is a speaker there for some reason, which will hopefully become more apparent later. The construction technique on this is a lot, 100% better than the Chinese imports of the ATU 1040, 100 units that you see out there. The design from N7DDC is great. The way that they put them together from the factories in the foreign country where they are assembled is not so great. It looks like they were made by people that don't know exactly what it is that they're building. But this looks good. Bunch of relays down the side. Let me take a look at these relays. They are very blurry. Well, they are all very blurry. I'm using a magnifying glass. It's not my eyes, folks. It's the relays. Trust me. It looks like HK4100 or KK4100F OC9V-SHG. Wow, they're just super blurry. All right, let's see what kind of relays these are. Okay, these are apparently latching relays. Fantastic. All right, so then a couple other things you want to know is it has 5 volts, 1 amp DC charge over USB-C. So you'll be able to, carry less devices with you as you go out because you'll already have your USB-C charger for your phone. This is very, very similar to the N7DDC design, just a little more compact and a little bit better put together. So we have what looks to be boost buck converter here. I can't tell which one it is because the battery's reading 3-point-something volts, and this thing probably runs off of 5 volts, and the relays are 5 volts. So I would assume that's a boost converter. These diodes here actually match, which is one of the problems with the ATU 100 series that comes out of that foreign country. All right, let's get it put back together and do some testing with it. All right, let's start with the tuner plugged in. This is plugged into my DX Commander antenna, which tops out at 40 meters. So we're gonna try testing a tune on 80 meters and on 160. This is what it looks like when it first pops up. It is plugged in. I am at the bottom of 80 meters using the RIDI mode. I'm at 3503, just to be safe on either direction. And I'm going to key down, and what it's going to do is it's gonna automatically tune because it is RF sensing. All right, it could not find a tune at the bottom of the band. 80 meters is a big band. Let's go to the middle. We'll go to 3700. It tells us no inductance and a capacitance of 1790. And that tuned up real fast. Inductance of 291, capacitance of 1580, SWR of 1.5 to 1. And the radio sees a little bit better. It says trust your radio's meter more than you trust this meter because the radio's meter is built in and this is past some coax and yada, yada, yada. So let's see what else it says. This display is pretty neat too. I wonder if that corresponds to locations inside of the tuner. our SWR graph over time. Oh, that's pretty cool. It says 1.4-ish on the radio, 1.6-ish on the screen there. That's pretty neat. And then I let go of the key and it goes back down to 0 because there's no SWR. This is our power meter, and it's another graph. So 69, 70, 72 watts out. It's a 100-watt radio. And then this is probably instantaneous. Yeah. So somewhere around that 70 forward, and it's got peak hold meters. Nice. Here is our normal display, forward power, reflected power, and our SWR graph, SWR number. And then we're back to our original. And as long as you key down, again, it's gonna try again. But it is nice that you can just key down and have it start tuning. Hold the button and it resets. Push the button for changing. So it can tune the middle of 80 meters on this antenna. Let's go to 160. Bottom of the band, 1803. Fail. Okay, so that squealing noise you hear is coming from the internal speaker in the tuner. This antenna is not designed for either of those two frequencies I tried to throw at it. Let's go something a little more normal. I'm gonna go to the top of the 40 meter band, 7297. Let's do a complete reset. And let's try it out. It's saying 1.4, 74 watts output. Go to the middle, visit all of our friends on 7200, 1.2, and at the bottom, 703 is 1.2 as well. All right, 1.06, that's 14,250, and it says 1.0 to 1, and the radio agrees. Let's reset. So we're on 14,250, 1.25, so it's got a quick memory tune in there. Reset. Tuned. That's very fast. 18,162. Fail. Fail. 1.03, that's 2105 megahertz. That was a fast tune. And no tune needed at the top half of the band. Let's reset, because it was already... Wait. I'm waiting. I gave up waiting. I don't know what the wait was about. 1.4, no tune necessary. 24 megahertz. Nice. That's 24,892. And that tune is happy at the top end of the band because it's a small band. We'll do a reset and start over. It tries to tune, but it fails faster than it can say tune. That's interesting. So we'll go back to the bottom of the band on 24. 1.34, and we'll go to the top of the band, and it's 1.3, and it's happy. Reset. Tune, fail. So that's interesting. So you can kind of walk it up. Let's go back to 80 meters, and we had trouble at the bottom of the band. Fail. Okay, so we'll go to the middle, where it was happy. 1.49, and we'll go back to the bottom. And the hypothesis here is that when it has a happy tune to start with, going a little tiny bit off frequency and trying again is going to be okay. Fail. 1.4 in the middle again. Let's go to the top. Yeah, 1.89. That's not a failure in my book. 1.9. Yeah, that's not a failure. Howdy everybody, Steve here, KM9G. Today I'm playing with the AT-100M, the Antuner. I like the design, I like the construction quality, I like the durability of the case. I like a lot of things about this. You saw over on the bench, it was only 1.8, 1.9 to 1, which isn't terrible, but the way that the tuner's designed is it's not gonna try any harder, and it's going to prevent you from actually using your radio. Or maybe there's some fancy way that you can, turn it on while holding down the tune button or something like that. The internal construction was good. It looked like they used some high quality parts. My best guess here is that they can fix it in firmware in the future. There are some test points inside and there is a programming header inside. So it will be possible to upgrade this. I do like the way they have their website laid out. I do like their documentation. I do like their openness and their support with the community. They seem like they've taken the N7DDC design and improved it to the next level, which is fantastic. I like the direction that it's going. It is available and it is higher quality than the AT-100 that we're getting out of that foreign country that I keep mentioning without naming. There will be a link in the description down below. Currently, this is available on eBay. Make sure that it's new. Make sure that it is as close to the United States as you can get it. It's also available on Alibaba. I don't recommend going to Alibaba for the new guy because it's hard to figure out how that site works, and sometimes they'll get you with like, oh, $5. Well, $5 is the dust cap on the back, and then you pick option B and it's the tuner in a kit form, and you pick option C and it's the tuner completely built. So you got to be really careful when you are shopping on Alibaba. What you get out of there is exactly what you get from anywhere else. People on eBay just bought the right thing and put it on eBay. They got it from Alibaba too, I'm sure, because that's the way the world works these days. There is a video right over here I think you will enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.